Welcome to the History Stories podcast. Get ready for another wild tale from the past.
We're definitely embarking on a historic road trip today.
Into the really strange case of the Oakville blobs.
It is one of those stories, isn't it? Sounds completely made up.
But it happened. August 1994, small town Oakville, Washington.
And, well, it started raining slime.
Right. Not just a little bit either.
No, multiple downpours, this weird gelatinous goo.
Over a 3-week period.
Yeah, which is just bizarre in itself.
And it got worse, didn't it? There were reports of people getting sick.
Unsettling illnesses, yes. And even animals dying. It's pretty grim.
Makes you stop and think, what on earth?
Exactly. So for this historic road trip, we're diving deep.
Using the history books and uncovered sources we could find.
Yeah, trying to unpack what actually went down in Oakville. We'll look at eyewitnesses.
The science attempts, which seem pretty baffling themselves.
Oh, definitely baffling. And all the theories that have popped up since, it's still unsolved, you know?
So think of this as your shortcut to understanding one of the weirdest events in recent history.
Something that sounds totally fake, but isn't.
Buckle up then. This historic road trip is going to be strange.
Okay, where do we start?
Let's go right to the beginning. August 7th, 1994. It's about 3:00 a.m.
Okay.
Police officer David Lacey, he's on patrol in Oakville. And it starts to rain. Seems normal enough.
Except, it wasn't normal. Not your usual Pacific Northwest drizzle, right?
Not at all. He turns on his wipers.
And they just smear this greasy film everywhere. Can't see a thing.
So he pulls over, smartly, puts on gloves,
Good thing he did.
and finds this mushy, jello-like stuff all over his patrol car.
Jello! That gives you a picture. His first thought must have been, this is not right.
And he was basically one of the first to encounter what became the Oakville blobs.
Little did he know.
And it wasn't just him having a weird night when the sun came up.
Other people started finding it too.
Yeah, residents were discovering this goo everywhere, like Dottie Hearn.
Right. She had a farm just outside town. Found it covering her property.
She thought it was hail at first.
Understandable, maybe.
Until you touch it.
Exactly. Then she realized it was this strange, slimy stuff. Her daughter, Sunny Barcliff, saw it too, even on the roof.
So it wasn't just on the ground, it was really coming down. Sounds widespread.
It seems like it was, and the descriptions, they varied a little.
Yeah, slightly. Most said translucent, gelatinous, some tiny, like half a grain of rice.
Others more like jelly beans.
Kind of like that, yeah. Officer Lacey's Jello comparison is pretty evocative.
I read one account mentioning baseball-sized ones.
There was that mention, but mostly people reported the smaller, jelly-like bits.
Okay, but here's the really weird part. It wasn't just one freak storm.
No, that's key. Over the next 3 weeks in August 94,
It happened 6 times.
6 separate times these blobs fell.
That repeated pattern, it just makes you question any simple explanation, doesn't it? Like a one-off accident or a prank.
Absolutely. A one-time thing. Maybe dismissible. But 6 times. Over a decent area, too. How big an area are we talking?
Estimates are around 20 square miles.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it points to something more significant. A recurring source, maybe? Or some condition that kept triggering it.
It shifts it from just an anomaly to, well, a phenomenon, natural or not.
The feeling in Oakville must have gone from just confused to genuinely worried pretty fast.
And that worry turned into real fear because not long after these falls, people started getting sick.
Yeah, there seemed to be a direct link in people's minds. Touch the goo, get ill.
Officer Lacey, even though he wore gloves.
He still got sick later that day, reportedly. Violently ill, severe fatigue, nausea, breathing trouble.
And Dottie Hearn, who did touch it barehanded.
Unfortunately, yes, she got severe dizziness and nausea that same afternoon.
It got really bad for her, didn't it?
It did. Her daughter and son found her collapsed on the bathroom floor. Sweating, vomiting, terrible vertigo, blurred vision.
She ended up in the hospital.
For 3 days, yeah. That's how sick she was.
And it wasn't just them. Sunny Barcliff, Dottie's daughter, and a friend who helps collect samples.
They also felt fatigued and nauseous.
And another resident, Beverly Roberts. She took some home out of curiosity.
Big mistake, apparently. Within a day, bam. Vertigo, other weird symptoms, needed medical help.
She described it like the whole town got hit with this awful flu, but one that just wouldn't quit.
Yeah, lingered way longer than usual. Maurice Gobiel put it bluntly, everybody that lived here got sick.
Sounds like a huge chunk of the community felt something.
It really does. And the reported symptoms were pretty consistent across the board.
Nausea, dizziness, vertigo, fatigue.
Respiratory issues, blurred vision, fever, chills. Like a really severe flu, as Beverly said.
And then there were the animals. That adds another disturbing layer.
It does. Dottie Hearn's new kitten, it had been outside, died soon after the first blob fall. Severe intestinal problems.
Just the one kitten.
No, others reported dogs and cats dying after contact with the stuff. Beverly Roberts mentioned dead frogs, ravens near where she got her sample.
She claimed 12 animal deaths.
That was her claim, yes. And there's that other weird report, maybe related, maybe not.
The dead crabs.
Yeah, washing up on the coast around the same time. Someone found them, touched a similar clear gel, and both they and their dog got sick. It's unsettling.
But there's always a but with these stories, isn't there? Skepticism.
Right. Dr. David Little, the doctor who treated Dottie Hearn,
He wasn't convinced.
reportedly skeptical about a direct link. He thought her symptoms might be from a pre-existing inner ear condition.
And even Dottie herself admitted the timing might just be coincidence.
She acknowledged that possibility, yeah. And it was pointed out her kitten was already unwell before the blobs.
So it's not totally clear-cut. Cause and effect is tricky here.
That's a crucial point. Correlation versus causation, right? People touch blobs, people got sick, easy to connect them.
The timing is suggestive, though. And so many similar reports, plus the animal deaths.
It seems compelling, but what's missing, really, is a thorough medical investigation at the time.
No widespread interviews or exams or animal autopsies.
Doesn't seem like it. So the link is mostly anecdotal. Dr. Little's diagnosis, Dottie's doubts, the kitten's prior illness, those details matter.
Beverly Roberts saying on Unsolved Mysteries that the illness lasted 7 weeks, 2 or 3 months.
That's a really long time for flu. If accurate and if directly related, it might suggest something unusual. A weird pathogen, a toxin.
But again, that's recollection years later, without medical records from back then.
It's hard to say definitively. So yeah, the blob sickness connection, still very much debated, still unproven.
Okay, so the sickness is a big question mark. Let's get to the blobs themselves. What was this stuff?
Right, the million-dollar question. As people got sick, everyone wanted to know what was falling on them.
Sunny Barclift, with her safety background, she collected samples.
She did, took the initiative. Dottie Hearn kept some too. She even took a sample to the hospital with her.
Thinking it was linked to her illness.
Exactly. And almost a year later, she took a frozen sample to a private lab. Shows real determination.
So the first scientific look was at the local hospital via Dr. Little.
And this is where it gets really weird, contradictory even.
The first report said, human white blood cells.
Correct, which you can imagine set off alarm bells. Human waste from planes. That theory took off immediately.
But that didn't last.
No. Sunny sent samples to the Washington State Department of Ecology. Mike Osweiler analyzed them.
What did he find?
He confirmed cells, yes, once living. But crucially, and this hit, the New York Times, the cells had no nuclei.
No nuclei. Wait, human white blood cells definitely have nuclei.
Exactly. Basic biology, they're eukaryotic. No nuclei means prokaryotic, like bacteria.
So that blows the human waste theory out of the water. And jellyfish, too, right? They have nuclei.
Right. So immediately conflicting results from different places.
Okay, then the Washington State Department of Health got involved. Mike McDowell.
Yep. He looked at samples, described the stuff as uniform, no real structure under the microscope.
Did you find anything in it?
He isolated 2 types of bacteria, Pseudomonas fluorescens.
Pretty common environmental bug.
Yeah. And Enterobacter cloacae.
Now that one is interesting. Often found in the human gut.
It is, which could, maybe, revive the aircraft waste idea. Or suggest some other contamination involving waste.
But did he think it was harmful?
McDowell himself said at the time there was no real evidence these specific bacteria were dangerous in this situation.
And then, almost a year later, Dottie's frozen sample at AmTest Labs.
The plot thickens again. Microbiologist Tim Davis examined it.
And he found.
He reported finding what he thought was a eukaryotic cell, a cell with a nucleus.
Okay, hold on. That directly contradicts the Department of Ecology's no nuclei finding.
It does. And it potentially reopens the door to animal origins, maybe those jellyfish fragments, if you ignore the nuclei issue for a moment.
So every test just gave a different answer. This is confusing.
It really is. Let's recap. Local hospital, suspected human white blood cells, depth of ecology cells, but no nuclei, suggesting bacteria, depth of health, calming bacteria, including one found in guts, private lab, later, possible eukaryotic cell with a nucleus.
It's a total mess. Why so many different results?
Several possibilities. Maybe the blobs themselves weren't all the same, collected at different times, different places.
The frozen sample might have degraded?
Could be. Different labs, different methods, different equipment, that can lead to variations.
Contamination during collection or testing?
Also possible, and maybe that initial white blood cell ID wasn't quite right.
This scientific confusion is a huge part of why it's still a mystery.
Absolutely. Almost any theory can find some piece of data to latch onto while ignoring the contradictions.
And then there's the story about the samples themselves vanishing.
Yeah, adding another layer of intrigue, almost like a spy thriller. The samples Mike McDowell analyzed at the Department of Health
Gone.
apparently just vanished from his lab before more tests could be done. And weirder still, decades later, the Washington Department of Health reportedly has no official record of ever even receiving the blobs.
What? What happened to them?
It's incredibly frustrating. It basically stops any modern reanalysis with today's tech, like DNA sequencing.
Of course that leads to speculation. Cover-up theories.
Naturally. Was it just bad record keeping? Or something deliberate?
There was that story about McDowell being told to stop asking questions.
There's a report suggesting a supervisor told him that after he speculated the goo might be like a man-made matrix for bioagents. Unverified, but adds to the mystery.
But without the samples, getting a definitive answer is impossible.
Pretty much. Which leaves us with the scientific whirlwind you described.
Hospital, maybe human cells. Ecology, no nuclei. Health, bacteria. Private lab. Maybe a nucleus after all. A puzzle with pieces that just don't fit.
Precisely. And that conflicting data is why we're still talking about the Oakville blobs 3 decades on. No clear science means the door stays wide open for speculation.
Let's put this in context a bit. Summer of '94.
Yeah, post-Cold War, early internet days for most people. Maybe a bit more general suspicion of government stuff. More openness to the unexplained.
And locally, in Oakville itself. Must have been intense.
Oh, definitely. Fear about the sickness, huge curiosity about the blobs, and lots of talk among residents about where they came from.
I heard the local tavern even made a drink.
They did. Called the jellyfish, apparently. Vodka, gelatin, juice. A unique way to commemorate raining slime.
Huh. Okay, officially, Officer Lacey's report started the ball rolling.
Right. As more people got sick and samples were collected, the state departments of health and ecology got involved.
Did they find similar reports nearby?
They noted early on no other confirmed reports of similar blobs falling close by, though there was one unverified account.
The hot metallic particles burning a trampoline somewhere else in the region.
Yeah, around the same time. Unverified, but adds to the general weirdness of that August. Seems like the blobs were pretty localized to Oakville.
And the media jumped on it.
Oh yeah, pretty quickly. Local and regional papers covered it. Seattle Post-Intelligencer, the Chronicle in Centralia, KXRO News Radio.
Even national news.
The New York Times ran a piece focusing on the ecology department's finding of cells that were once alive.
But the big one. The one everyone remembers.
Had to be Unsolved Mysteries.
Right. Robert Stack, the music.
That show really knew how to dramatize things like this. Leaned into the mystery, the possibility of the paranormal.
Their Oakville segment had interviews, reenactments.
Highlighted all the conflicting lab results, the unanswered questions. That national exposure really cemented the Oakville blobs as a major American mystery.
How the media, especially a show like that, framed it probably had a huge impact.
Absolutely. Newspapers might stick closer to just the facts, but Unsolved Mysteries built a narrative, emphasized the intrigue.
By focusing on the sickness, the weird science, the eyewitness stuff, those dramatic reenactments.
It probably amplified the mystery, maybe didn't give as much weight to skeptical views like Dr. Little's diagnosis or the kitten being sick before.
And that dramatic story sticks in your head. Fuels the fascination.
Exactly. It's that compelling, unresolved story that keeps it alive decades later. No clear answer, plus it's just genuinely weird. Perfect for speculation.
Which brings us to the theories. Lots of them, right?
A whole range, from plausible-ish to way out there, and still no single proven answer.
One early idea, tied to those initial reports. Human waste from a plane. Blue ice.
Yeah, the suspected white blood cells and the E. cloacae bacteria seem to fit on the surface.
But the FAA shot that down.
Pretty quickly. They said plain waste is typically blue from disinfectant and has other chemicals. The blobs were clear.
Plus 6 times in 3 weeks. Doesn't fit routine discharge.
Exactly. Doesn't really add up.
Okay, what about the exploded jellyfish idea? That gained traction locally.
It did. The military was doing bombing practice offshore in the Pacific.
So the idea was, boom, jellyfish bits get carried inland by clouds.
That was the theory. The gelatinous texture seemed right, and there was military activity.
But Sunny Barclift wasn't convinced.
No, she found the logistics unlikely jellyfish bits traveling 50 miles inland, falling repeatedly for 3 weeks.
And the science.
The no nuclei finding from ecology contradicts it. Jellyfish are animals, eukaryotic cells, they have nuclei. Appearance might be similar, but the cells didn't match that finding.
What about more natural explanations? Star jelly.
That's a more reasonable one. Star jelly or similar things like cyanobacteria, slime molds, fungal growths, even regurgitated frog spawn.
Things sometimes found on the ground after rain or meteor showers. Gelatinous stuff.
Exactly. Some modern finds turn out to be just sodium polyacrylate crystals from diapers.
Could that fit Oakville? The texture fits? Maybe explains the bacteria?
Possibly. Some cyanobacteria can even produce toxins causing flu-like symptoms.
But the big problem is,
Eyewitnesses said they saw it falling, not just finding it on the ground later.
can that stuff get airborne like that?
Maybe under certain conditions, but it doesn't perfectly match the reports of raining goo.
Okay, then we get into the more conspiratorial theories. Military experiments.
Given the context, 1994, general unease. Yeah, those popped up fast. People cited anecdotal reports of weird military planes.
Plus the sickness, the animal deaths, the missing lab samples.
And that unverified story about the microbiologist being warned off.
Joint Base Lewis McChord isn't that far away, is it?
Its proximity definitely fueled speculation. No direct proof. Officials denied involvement. But the sheer strangeness keeps the theory alive. A nearby base offers a ready-made explanation for the unexplained.
What about newer theories? Accidental agricultural spray.
That's circulated more recently online, maybe an experimental chemical or biological pest control agent.
From some secret research facility nearby. Released by accident.
The idea is maybe it used a gelatinous carrier, could potentially fit some bacteria findings.
But is there any evidence for that?
It seems largely speculative, apparently originated from an unverified online comment, no proof of such a facility or tests near Oakville then. And it doesn't really explain the white blood cell report or the multiple rain events well.
And then the really fringe stuff. UFOs.
Always happens with big mysteries, right? UFOs, unknown atmospheric phenomena, no credible evidence linking them to Oakville specifically.
Though that report of hot metallic particles adds another layer of weirdness to that month.
It does. Ultimately, the key to why Oakville endures is the evidence itself. It's fragmented, contradictory, incomplete.
White blood cells, no nuclei, bacteria, maybe a nucleus later, falling blobs versus ground blobs, sickness reports, missing samples.
It all points in slightly different directions, allows people to pick the bits that fit their theory and ignore the rest.
Without clear, consistent science and a definitive explanation.
We're left with endless speculation and a truly fascinating unsolved mystery.
So what do you make of the Great Oakville Blob mystery? We've taken a historic road trip through it all.
From Officer Lacey's late-night discovery, Dottie Hearn finding it on her farm.
To the fact it wasn't just once, 6 times over 3 weeks, covering a big area.
Then the really unsettling part. The illnesses. Flu-like symptoms, vertigo, breathing problems hitting Lacey, Hearn, Barclift, Roberts, Gobeil.
And the tragic stories of animals dying. Dottie's kitten, other pets.
But remembering the debate, too, was it a direct cause or just bad timing? Dr. Little's skepticism, Dottie's own doubts?
The science just made it muddier, didn't it? Those contradictory findings.
Completely. Human white blood cells reported first. Then Mike Osweiler finds no nuclei. Mike McDowell finds common bacteria, including one from the gut.
Then Amtest Labs reports a possible eukaryotic cell, contradicting the new nuclei part.
And topped off by the samples vanishing from the Department of Health. Just bizarre.
We also touched on the 1994 context, maybe ripe for speculation, and the media's role.
Especially unsolved mysteries shaping that enduring narrative.
Finally, went through the theories. Blue ice, exploded jellyfish, mostly debunked.
Star jelly, slime mold, more plausible naturally than the whispers. Military experiments, accidental ag chem releases.
And even UFOs. But the key is no definitive proof for any of them.
And the conflicting science fuels all that uncertainty.
So many lingering questions remain. What really fell? What caused the sickness, if anything? Where did those samples go?
The case is wide open. A real testament to history, sometimes just throwing us curveballs that defy easy answers.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening. Given all these conflicting reports, the missing evidence, Is it possible we're not looking at just one thing?
Could multiple different phenomena have been happening in Oakville during those weird weeks in August 94?
Maybe some blobs were natural, like star jelly?
Well, maybe others perhaps had a different source, something artificial or stranger.
It's a thought that just highlights how complex, how truly unsolved this historic puzzle is.
Definitely keep digging into this bizarre, captivating story.